11th Hour portrait of those who've ruled the pirate radio wave since the 60s, the Black and White Pirate Show.
In tonight's program about pirate radio, we look back to the days when white pirates ruled the waves, and we learn how black pirates have stormed the capital in recent years. Our guests include the ranking Miss P, Tony Blackburn, Lepke, Johnny Walker, Paul Gilroy. The music varies from 60s pop to 80s soul. We hope you'll enjoy it. Our reporter for this evening's show, on holiday from Music Box, is Suni. So settle back for 60 minutes of great entertainment on wonderful Channel 4.
You might think that Radio 1's just a top 40 station. Your local station's a bit bland and boring, and as for Radio 2, well, but at least you can listen to pop music. About 25 years ago, you'd have been lucky to even do that. The BBC played just a few hours of pop every week. There was Saturday Club, there was Pick of the Pops, and not much more. Then in March 1964, 3.5 miles off this beach, a ship anchored. It had a very tall mast.
Wow, here it comes.
The sounds of free radio coming to you from Caroline.
That's something red. The sidewalks in the street, the concrete and the clay beneath my feet begins to crumble. But love will never die, because we'll see the mountains tumble before we say goodbye.
When you go shopping this morning, don't forget, girls, to buy those cards. Plain white postcards, because tonight, don't forget, we'll be having our love-in as usual, and you never know, we may even send a card to Harold Wilson, because let's face it, that man must need some love.
They call me Mr. Pitiful.
I got a letter yesterday, and I opened it up, and I read this letter, and it was from an old lady, a very old lady, and she was on about the Marine Defences Bill, you see. She said, "My dear young man," she said, "would you believe it must be at least 49 years since I committed an offense with a Marine?"
Radio, what go, go! Guess who started something, oh, can't you see? That ever since we met you had a hold on me. It happens to be true. I only wanna be with you. It doesn't matter where you go or what you do.
5. Even the bad times are good, the Tremolos. 4. Excerpts from Teenage Opera, Keith West. 3. San Francisco, Scott McKenzie. 2. I'll Never Fall in Love Again, Tom Jones. 1.
A former public schoolboy who became one of the best-known pirate DJs, he was one of the few to remain aboard after the pirates became illegal. Later, he reluctantly joined Radio 1, but became disillusioned and went off to work in America. Even there, though, he didn't find the kind of freedom he was looking for, so now he's back in Britain. Who is he? He's
Johnny Walker.
Somehow I'd always had this feeling of rebelliousness, and I was at a public school, and that was, you know, very strict about what you should do and what you should grow up into being and everything, and it didn't suit me at all. And DJs somehow seemed the ideal thing to do. You were out there on a boat, everybody called it pirate radio. You knew that all of the government was against you, and particularly in '67 when the Labour government were trying really hard to put us off the air, which is interesting now because the Labour Party are courting the youth of the nation, and yet in the '60s, something young people really loved. They moved everything they could to destroy it, which is very sad. So, yeah, we had an opportunity of just being young people taking on the whole of the British government. We had a format format at that time, which was one in, one out. We had a Caroline Top 50. So one record came from the Top 50, and the next record could be anything you liked. And we had the American Hot 100 in the studio. We had loads of oldie albums. We had a big record library downstairs. So 50% of the music you played, you could choose yourself. I remember the really hard decision was to whether a DJ would stay after August the 15th or not. And I thought about it long and hard, and a lot of DJs were leaving to go and join Radio 1, which started in September '67. And I just decided, I thought, well, if the station's going to be on the air, I want to be a part of it. It really would be like sort of leaving at a really crucial time. It was the total opposite to the freedom of pirate radio, because you knew that you were part of this huge corporation. You broadcast from this massive, great building, 8 floors high, full of executives, all with little monitors in their offices, all able to tune you in at any time. If you said something a bit offensive politically, MPs could demand transcripts of the program, and you were hauled and carpeted up before the boss, and records had to be timed, and I mean, it was just totally different.
Like Johnny Walker, most of the pirate DJs were white, male and middle class. Unlike him, they crossed over painlessly to the BBC and became dominant figures in pop music broadcasting.
I wanted to become a singer, which I still do, and I thought by going out there and becoming a disc jockey, I would probably get asked to make a record, which would happen, but I found that I enjoyed talking nonsense more. And that's something I've been doing all over the years. So I was out there really because I was 21 years old and I was having fun.
Wonderful Radio London. Whoopee.
I felt we were pioneers because up until then we just had the BBC Light programme and you know, the Northern Dance Orchestra and Time Chicks every 10 minutes. You know, this is the BBC. You'll listen to this because it's damn good for you. And we had pop music for 3/4 of an hour every day. So I didn't feel we were pirates. I felt, in fact, we weren't, because we weren't doing anything illegal, because we were outside the jurisdiction of this country. But at the same time, I thought we were pioneers, and I thought this was the start of something very special, which it was.
Well, if you're feeling down, come on and get happy. With wonderful Radio London.
On Radio London, which to me was the best station we've ever had in this country, the pirate ship now I'm talking about, what we had there was the Top 40 playlist, an American system with the high-powered American jingles, and we just played American Top 40 radio, which is rotating hit records, which I still do to this day. I still work to that system because it's the best, and it's the only sensible system that you can work for.
Here's the latest weather word on wonderful Radio London.